Before we begin, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And if you're watching this late at night, let me know where you're from and what time it is where you are. That way, YouTube knows you want more stories just like this, delivered straight into the dark. Now, let's begin. When my grandmother passed away, she left behind a massive Victorian house that had been in our family for over a century. It stood 3 stories tall, its wooden siding weathered by time and coastal storms. Creaky floorboards, peeling wallpaper, and an attic that no one in the family ever talked about. She always told us never to go up there. Not because it was dangerous, she said, but because some memories should stay forgotten. After the funeral, my family began sorting through her things. I volunteered to stay behind and clean the house for listing. It felt like the least I could do, a way of saying goodbye. On the 3rd day, I noticed something strange. Despite being empty for over a week, I kept hearing faint noises coming from above. Thumps, dragging sounds like something moving across the attic floor. At first, I thought it was the house settling, or squirrels. But every night, it got louder. On the 4th night, I finally caved. The attic door was tucked away behind a small hallway closet. It looked like it hadn't been opened in decades. Dust clung to the pull string like a web. When I tugged it down, the ladder groaned loudly as it unfolded. The smell hit me first. Stale wood, mold, and something faintly sweet, like old candy left out too long. I climbed up slowly, flashlight in one hand. The beam landed on boxes stacked neatly, covered in sheets, faded suitcases, a broken rocking horse. And then I saw it. In the far corner of the attic, sitting alone on a small red chair, was a doll. It wasn't just any doll. It was a Chucky doll. Stitched face, red hair, blue overalls. But not the plastic toy store kind. This one looked handmade, almost too realistic. Its glass eyes shimmered in the flashlight beam, and its face was just slightly off, like someone tried to recreate Chucky from memory. The worst part? It was smiling. Pinned to its chest with a rusted safety pin was a faded note. "Don't move him, he doesn't like it." I laughed nervously, thinking maybe my grandmother had a twisted sense of humor. But when I tried to lift the doll, something strange happened. It was heavy. Much heavier than it looked, like it was filled with metal or stone. As soon as I moved it from the chair, a cold draft rushed through the attic, slamming a loose window shut with a bang that nearly made me drop the thing. I set it down on a box and turned to inspect the window. When I turned back, the doll was gone. I searched everywhere, every box, every corner. Nothing. Finally, I gave up and went downstairs, thoroughly creeped out but trying to stay rational. That night, I locked my bedroom door, something I hadn't done since arriving. At 2:17 a.m., I woke up to the sound of laughter, childlike, raspy, coming from the hallway. I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight. I opened the door and saw footprints. Small, muddy, barefoot footprints leading away from the attic stairs, trailing down the hallway carpet. They ended in front of my grandmother's old sewing room. The door was slightly ajar. I pushed it open. The Chucky doll was sitting on the chair in the middle of the room. Same smile, same eyes, except now one of its arms was pointing toward the window. Written in the condensation on the glass were the words, "Why did you move me?" I left the next morning. Didn't pack. Didn't sleep. Just drove. I tried to tell my parents, but they thought I was grieving, overworked, hallucinating. The house was sold 3 months later to a young couple. I never contacted them, never warned them. But sometimes late at night, I still check the listing online. And every so often, the photos update. And that red chair, it's still in the attic. And something is always sitting in it. I grew up in the kind of house where we didn't talk about fear. My parents believed in solving problems with logic. If you heard a noise, it was the wind. If you saw something move, it was your imagination. Nothing was ever paranormal. Nothing was ever real unless you could touch it, measure it, or explain it. That mindset stayed with me well into adulthood, until we brought that doll into the house. My daughter found it at a local thrift store. She was 7, curious, bright, imaginative. She came running to me, cradling the thing like it was treasure. It was a Chucky doll, but not a new one. This one was old. The paint on the hair was chipped, the shirt was faded, and the eyes looked wrong. Not the wide, plastic, cartoonish kind you'd expect. They were smaller, glassier, with tiny red veins painted into the corners. The pupils were slightly off-center. They didn't match. One eye always seemed to be looking just past you. The other, straight at you. I tried to talk her out of it, told her it was creepy, that she'd have nightmares. But she insisted, hugged it like it was a friend she hadn't seen in years. So we brought it home, and for the first few days everything was fine, until I noticed it was never in the same place twice. At first I thought my daughter was just playing with it and forgetting where she left it. But one night I tucked her in, placed the doll on her shelf, and found it the next morning sitting on the stairs. I asked her why she brought it down. She swore she didn't. I didn't argue, didn't want to spook her. But something about the way its head tilted on the step, like it was watching the hallway, sent a chill through me. Things escalated quickly after that. One night I was doing laundry in the basement. When I came back upstairs, I found the Chucky doll sitting on my pillow. Its face was turned toward the bedroom door. I asked my wife if she put it there. She hadn't touched it. That night I woke up at 2:43 a.m. The house was silent. I rolled over and saw the doll sitting on the nightstand, facing me. I could have sworn I put it in the closet, but what really got me? The face. It wasn't the same. The paint looked different. The mouth seemed wider, the eyes more focused. I leaned in to look closer, and I swear to God, it blinked. I threw it into a trash bag that morning and locked it in the garage. My daughter cried, begged to get it back, but even she admitted, "It looks different now, Daddy. It watches me too much." Later that week, I went to toss out the bag completely. But when I opened the garage, the bag was torn open. The doll was gone. I searched the entire house, top to bottom. Nothing. I thought maybe my daughter took it back. But when I asked her, her face went pale. "No, I didn't touch it. It left. It said it wanted to play somewhere else now." I didn't know what that meant. She refused to explain. Months passed. The house was quiet again. No dolls, no footsteps, no whispers. I almost forgot it happened until we visited a family friend for dinner, someone we hadn't seen in years. As we were catching up in the living room, my daughter went quiet. She pointed across the room, and there it was, sitting on their bookshelf. The same Chucky doll, the same mismatched eyes, the same crooked smile that looked more like a sneer. I asked where they got it. They said it was a gift from a neighbor, left anonymously on the porch in a brown box. No note, no explanation. My daughter leaned in and whispered, "That's not the same one." I blinked. "It's not?" I asked. She shook her head. "No, that one has a new face." I never believed in cursed objects, much less haunted dolls. That changed the day my younger brother insisted on bringing home a battered Chucky doll he found in the alley behind our apartment complex. It was mid-July in Tucson, Arizona, and the heat was merciless. My brother Danny was 9 at the time, bright, curious, and always digging through junk like a little raccoon. That day, he came sprinting up to our second-floor apartment with the biggest grin on his face. "Look what I found!" he shouted, holding the doll up like a trophy. It was filthy, its synthetic hair matted, red-stained overalls faded, and one glassy eye slightly off-center. But it was unmistakably Chucky. I remember feeling instantly uneasy. My mom told him to throw it away, but Danny begged to keep it just for one night. My mom, tired from her double shift, relented. The first strange thing happened that night. At around 2 a.m., I woke up to the sound of creaking wood. Our hallway was small, and the wooden floor always gave us away if anyone walked on it. I opened my door, expecting to see Danny sneaking to the kitchen for snacks, but there was no one there. Instead, the Chucky doll was sitting upright in front of my door, its head tilted slightly, and it was smiling. I'm not exaggerating. The grin seemed wider than before. I freaked out and kicked it down the hall. Danny swore he hadn't moved it. The next morning, Mom was furious. The kitchen was a mess, cups shattered on the floor, cereal boxes emptied, and the microwave door left wide open. She thought Danny had done it and grounded him, but he swore it wasn't him. The doll had been on the living room couch, untouched, or so we thought. Over the next few days, the atmosphere in our apartment grew heavier. Lights flickered, doors creaked open on their own, and our dog, Marley, refused to enter the living room where Chucky sat. One night, I heard whispering coming from the corner of our shared bedroom. Danny was sound asleep, but Chucky, the doll, was on his nightstand, staring directly at me. I couldn't make out the words, but the whispering was unmistakable, raspy, low, and malevolent. That was the final straw. I grabbed the doll and ran outside in my pajamas. I hurled it into the communal dumpster behind the building. I even stayed to watch the lid close, like that would somehow seal it away. But the next morning, yet it was back. Sitting calmly on our front porch, legs crossed, face turned up toward the door. No one could explain it. We didn't tell neighbors about it, so it wasn't a prank, and no one in the building had kids that age. I took it to the dumpster again, this time walking it several blocks down and throwing it into a construction site skip. I made sure it was buried under drywall and insulation. The next morning, my mom found Danny's bedsheets torn and blood on his pillow. A thin scratch ran across his cheek. It was shallow, but deliberate, like something sharp had scraped him in a single, clean stroke. Danny had no idea how it happened. We called our grandmother, who lived an hour away. She was deeply religious and known for being superstitious. When she saw the doll, she turned pale and whispered something in Spanish before telling us we had to bury it where no child's voice could be heard. That weekend, we drove to an abandoned stretch of desert her family used to own. She brought salt, holy water, and a small shovel. We dug a deep hole and placed Chucky in it, wrapped in a pillowcase. She poured the salt over it, said a prayer, and we buried it. For months, things returned to normal. No flickering lights, no scratches, no whispering voices. But then, 2 years later, Danny got a birthday gift in the mail. It had no return address. Inside the box was a Chucky doll. Not the same one, we checked, but eerily similar. Identical in size, same crooked smile. Danny's face turned white when he saw it. He didn't even want to touch it. We burned that one in the backyard grill. To this day, we don't know who sent it, or if it was even different from the first. But sometimes, when I pass by our old building, I swear I see a flash of red overalls in the window of our old unit. Just for a split second, like it's waiting for someone else to pick it up again. If you made it this far, thank you for spending your night with us. If these stories gave you chills, there's plenty more waiting. Don't forget to subscribe to Night Fear Stories for new terrifying tales every single night. Sleep well, if you can.